Great. All right. So first off, thanks everyone for taking the time to be here for this exciting Yay Chapters Share webinar today. For those who are new to the community, this is a recurring webinar series from the Yay community, which is a global community for youth entrepreneurs and the stakeholders who support them. Yay is powered by the International Trade Center, which is a joint agency of the World Trade Organization and the United Nations, with a mandate to support small businesses to be more competitive so they can engage in international trade and enhance economic development and GDP. So with that, for those, again, who are not familiar, if you're not already on the Yay community, I will share the link in the chat. Please be sure to join this amazing platform where you can directly connect with other young entrepreneurs from around the world, as well as business support organizations like Kumasi Hive, as well as mentors and other ecosystem actors who can support you along your journey. The Yay platform provides a space for direct messaging, for tapping into e-learning courses, opportunities, events such as the one that we're here for today, as well as much, much more. So I will share the link in the chat, but please be sure if you don't already have your profile there to share that or to create that later today. So for this session today, we're going to be hearing from our Yay chapter anchor for Ghana, Kumasi Hive, as you can see on the screen. Kumasi Hive is a tech hub working out of Kumasi, Ghana. They are actually started by youth founders who are members of the Yay community, and they really have this core mandate to support not just young entrepreneurs, but tech entrepreneurs in Ghana to scale up their innovations so that they can employ other young people and also contribute to the development of the Ghanaian ecosystem. So I'm going to hand it over to the representative from Kumasi Hive, who's here with us today, Alex. He is the program lead at Kumasi Hive. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand it over to Alex. So Alex, over to you.
Thank you, Claire, for such a wonderful introduction. So I think I can go ahead and share my screen, right?
Please go ahead.
Bon, oui, bonjour. Est-ce que I'm not speak English in bed very good? I am speak French.
Hi, Youssef. Thanks for that. But désolé, cet webinaire est en français, mais après, nous avons organisé un autre webinaire en français avec le Yay Chapter Guinée. Mais désolé, cet webinaire est tout en français.
Donc, merci de m'avoir donné cet honneur à l'occasion de m'apprendre cette parole. En plus, je vous remercie beaucoup. C'est la première fois que je suis venu sur la conférence Zoom. Ça, c'est un plus pour moi. Je suis fier d'être assisté sur cette conférence. Donc, moi, je suis ici au chat. Donc, je vous remercie pour votre programme. Donc, je vous remercie 1000 fois aussi. Donc, d'après ça, Inch'Allah, grâce à Dieu, nous continuons à ce que nous arrive, Inch'Allah. S'il plaît à Dieu.
OK. Donc, merci beaucoup, Youssef.
Oui. Bon, selon le programme, donc c'est la première fois que vous parlez, j'attends que parler en anglais, mais je ne suis pas l'anglais un peu courant, donc je me débrouille aussi.
Oui, mais désolé, tout ce webinaire, c'est en anglais, mais les autres, Yay organisé en français, c'est une. Mais dans ce moment, j'ai nécessaire de passer le mic à Alexander. Merci, Youssef.
Oui, merci de m'avoir.
Okay, Alex, over to you.
All right, sure. Thank you, Claire. Claire, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yep, all good.
All right, sure. Okay. Thank you once again, and thank you everyone for tuning in onto this session. So my name is Alexander Enimajovo, and I'm with the business team here at Kumasi Hive. So today I'm going to share a little about what we do and how we are also supporting tech startups who are based in Ghana. So these are some of the things that we are going to cover. We are going to talk about who we are, our mission and vision. We are going to look at why tech matters and why Kumasi Hive
Alex, it seems we've lost your sound. Are you still there?
is also operating in the tech sector. We are going to talk about Hello, Claire, can you hear me?
Yes, but your sound cut out twice for me. I don't know if it cut out for the others, but if you can just repeat yourself, that would be great.
All right. So these are the areas that we are going to cover in the presentation. So we are going to look at who we are as Kumasi Hive, our mission and vision, and also why tech matters and why we are operating in the tech sector. We are going to talk about the need to develop a very strong tech ecosystem. Our approach in supporting startups and SMEs based in Kumasi and around, and highlight some of our partners that we've engaged with in the past, and also our projects that we are running, and of course, some best practices to take note of when you are dealing with certain partners or clients, and even in running your projects and other activities. So Kumasi Hive is a registered non-governmental organization. It was opened in the year 2016 and was founded by our founder, Analoi, and her co-founder, Georgia Pia, who was an electronic engineer student back on KNUST. Georgia Pia previously founded the Creativity Group in 2013, which can now boast of over 600 active members in major public universities in Ghana. So the vision behind setting up Kumasi Hive was that by opening a physical space and making modern prototyping available alongside with business support, they can bridge the gap between good engineering and also be able to create successful products. So through our hardware incubator, we incubate selected and promising hardware startups, helping them to move from idea stage through prototyping to the products for market stage with both technical and business development support. So at Kumasi, we have a vision of being Africa's central hub for skills and business development, and also the rapid prototyping of ideas, creating jobs, and also bridging the gender inequality gap. And we seek to do this by creating equal opportunities for Ghanaian youth by providing and equipping them with entrepreneurial, technological skills and education in order to generate socioeconomic impact within our respective communities. So we have 5 years, more than 5 years of providing entrepreneurship training and support. And in this process, we've been able to train over 5,500 participants. And we've also been able to reach 3,200 startups through most of our programs that we've run over the years. And in terms of funding, in the space of 5 years and counting, we've been able to raise 15.7 million in funds. And we currently work with over 60 clients and partners, and have over 40 staff employees as well. And we are based in one country, which is Ghana. Now here are some few pictures of our office space and co-working space. And we have our training space down below. And you can see that there is a training ongoing in the picture on your bottom right. And this is the staff strength of Kumasi Hive, all in one picture. And this is also some of the SMEs or tech firms that have emerged from Kumasi Hive and fully fledged companies that are doing amazing works in Ghana. So we have Solar Taxi, which is an e-mobility startup company that provides eco-friendly transport services. So they do this in addition to locally assembling electric powered vehicles in Ghana. We also have SESI Technologies, and they develop affordable technologies to help African farmers and agri-businesses to be able to increase their productivity and reduce their losses as well. We also have DEX Technologies. So they develop and manufacture innovative science sets for students to be able to enable them learn or simplify the learning of STEM in their various schools. We also have Clarks 3D. So they specialize in the manufacturing of low-cost 3D printers using locally available materials such as e-waste. Now, before I go into why tech matters and why Kumasi Hive focuses on tech, let's take a little dive into the ecosystem in Ghana. Now, when I should ask what the first thing is that comes to mind when you think of Ghana, I'm sure some of us here are going to talk about the Ashanti Kingdom, which is one of the most powerful kingdoms in Ghana, or some may even talk about the relaxed and easygoing people, and others would definitely think of the jollof rice wars between our fellow Nigerian mates. But to many of us, Ghana has been known for its prominent natural resources, that is gold and cocoa. And it is the world's second largest producer of cocoa, and also the only African countries among the top 10 gold producing countries in the world. Now, Ghana has a population of about 32 million people, which keeps growing at a rate of 2.2% annually. And out of this, we also have a youth population of 19 million. And that number is even over 19 million youth population, which is a sign that Ghana and other African countries will supply a disproportionate percentage of the world's working age in the coming years to come. Ghana has developed its technology to produce solutions and increasing more today than ever when you compare how the technology advancement in Ghana was 3 years ago and today. It has a young population, and this population is constantly flourishing by learning new things and also developing themselves through technological development and also improving their skills in technology. Now, the recent moves of big tech companies like Twitter and also Google, who have set up their headquarters in Ghana, are examples of the dawn of change in the Ghanaian tech ecosystem. So in the years to come, tech improvements in Ghana will advance far beyond where they even stand now. And this kind of attests to the fact that there is a need for more training and capacity building in the areas of tech. Now, why tech entrepreneurship matters? So when tech entrepreneurship is a key source of economic and social progress, it refers to the creation of new firms by independent entrepreneurs and corporations where they get to exploit technological discoveries. Now, what these new firms do is they create jobs to contribute to the well-being of their communities and also generate some form of wealth for their owners. These firms are also the change makers in their respective industries as they bring in new technological paradigms that alter the dynamics of competition. Now, tech is important, or it matters because it is needed to propel technological innovation efforts. So whenever there is a breakthrough in research and development, it is the place of tech entrepreneurship to commercialize these achievements. Otherwise, it just remains in the laboratory without making any impact. So one of the reasons why many research breakthroughs never leave the lab is due to the shortfall of tech entrepreneurs. And unless tech innovations or the output of research and development are commercialized, industrialization will be very difficult. So then tech is really needed to be able to propel the technological innovation in the society. It also accelerates the diffusion of technological innovation in an economy. So it has proven to be the platform over the years that has increased the spread of information in an economy. So if I should take Ghana, for instance, and in most African countries, the rate of spread of information is on the increase. And this has been made possible by tech entrepreneurs or firms that saw an opportunity and also decided to market IT products and services, thereby increasing the pace of this spread. Tech matters because it also has potential of improving state of technological capability in a country, and mainly because when technological efforts are being made, learning takes place, and this occurs either by doing or observation, and thereby improving the tech capability in the efforts in question. Now, if tech matters, then there is the need to also develop a very strong ecosystem. So aside from helping economies move forward through the creation of jobs and wealth, a thriving ecosystem also allows startup founders to connect with other founders and share stories about how to overcome technical and commercial problems as well. So building anything new, we can all attest to the fact that building anything new is hard. Never mind alone when you are trying to build in a vacuum. So experience sharing with others should not be underappreciated. As technology continues to evolve faster, a vibrant and healthy developer community is critical in any tech ecosystem. So once there is a strong developer community, it forces its members to learn, and it ensures that the ecosystem is armed with developer resources to tackle various problems leading to product and service innovation. Now, a stronger developer community provides a support system, sort of when failure is seen as part of growth. So in a thriving ecosystem, constant engagement and healthy business relationships are being formed consistently, usually to promote learning and connections. So these engagements can happen via meetups or get-togethers or developer meetups and other community events. And at these events, developers meet each other to learn from one another and also provide a support system. Now, it also promotes the access to capital. Now, capital comes in many forms, but the capital I'm trying to refer here is an experienced capital. So when we say an experienced capital, it's not just about thinking of how much of success the company has been, but it is also about understanding what early stage startups are like. Maybe they do not fit in the usual private equity investments, but for experienced capital, it knows how to help founders along their journey, rather than just auditing the founders on how a company should be like or should operate like. So if you have a strong tech ecosystem and investors that understand what startup founders need, then the ecosystem is likely to grow significantly by increasing the knowledge share between these individuals and also the rest of the investment community. Now, how do we support startups as Kumasi Hives? So we have various forms of various services available for startups that come into our office space or even our programs. So we provide startup incubation and acceleration, which is a complete support package to allow entrepreneurs, whether high potential SMEs or you are now starting, you can also focus on it. We also organize events to bring together innovators, change makers, and other tech community to network and learn. Like I stated in my previous point, engagement and connection if you are looking at building a very strong tech ecosystem. We develop skills and capacity in the community with digital technologies through our tech skills training program, which is something that we do a lot. And we provide affordable workspace for businesses and freelancers as well. So we give out co-working spaces where SMEs who do not have enough to be able to rent a full house or a company to operate from, they can just use our co-working space to be able to have their meetings and other things that they require an office to do. We also provide consultancy services where we offer a full package of consultancy services to the SMEs, and these services are specific, so they are tailor-made to the needs of the SME that we are consulting for. And we don't do this alone. We also have a network of experts that we work with in providing this form of support. Now, some key programs that we ran in the past, and most of these programs are what most of our SMEs are churned out from. So some of them include the Bridge the Gap, which is an employability skills training program that seeks to train female personnel through practical skills and also problem-solving skills using digital technologies. We also have the Africa Makerspace Network, which is a practical and steady week program, which brings together makerspaces from different parts of the country to network and learn, and also come up with innovative ideas and products. We have the Creativity Group, which is a student-focused initiative, and this seeks to create like a collaboration between university graduate students and also undergraduate students as well. And Kumasi Hive actually stemmed from Creativity Group. So once Hive was established, there was the need to keep on with Creativity Group as well, to be able to connect students, to exchange ideas and knowledge in innovation, and to also solve problems in our communities as well. We also have the Wazi Hub, which is a project made up of participants from different parts of Africa. So what they do is they train on IoT, that is Internet of Things, and are tasked to develop products that have some components of Internet of Things and solve societal problems as well. And of course, the Year Boost Acceleration Program, which targets youth-led export-ready ventures, and it's dedicated to internationalization and access to export markets as well. And this
Alex, we've lost your sound.
program for a network.
Alex, you're cutting out a bit. Alex, I think your internet is weak at the moment. Oh, well, that explains why. Sometimes these things happen. Okay, so on that front, Alex, are you back?
Hello, Claire, can you hear me?
Yes, now it's back. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, we can hear you fine now. The network glitched, but
so I was talking about some of the partners that we have. So the list is not exhaustive, but here are a few of them. And when you come to Kumasi Hive, we have actually categorized our partners into three categories. So we have the project partners, the institutional partners, and also the industrial partners. So the project partners are more of the people that we've run several projects with. And the institutional partners are the regulatory institutions and also universities that certify some of the courses that we do here or programs that we run here, so that whenever someone goes through a training program and receives some form of certification, it is recognized depending on where the person will want to use it. And we have the industrial partners. and they are more of the people who provides internship opportunities to some of the trainees that undergo some programs here at Kumasi Hive as well. Now, we cannot talk about tech and why the need for tech without talking about some best practices, especially when you are dealing with clients and people who may not know how the ecosystem in Ghana is. So here are a few best practices to keep in mind when you are running projects and activities with other partners. So it is important to have efficient meeting. So when you set up the project governance, make it clear who should be involved in what meetings as the project moves forward. Also make sure that meetings have a clear purpose and agenda. Projects with several different companies involve work, and it works best when the project leads and also executives from these different companies are put and have their input in the process. If your meeting turned into an unproductive status check, the agency or partner may decide to send in someone else instead. So always make sure that you set up a meeting that is efficient. At the end of the day, you are going to gain some results out of this. So have efficient meetings with your clients and partners as well. You need to be flexible and operate in full transparency. So it is extremely important to stay flexible and also modify your approach to things where necessary. So keep in mind that no clients or no two projects from a client will be the same. So it is important that as the project gets underway and modifications are inevitably made, make sure your partner provides the flexibility you need and can quickly respond to change. And this is important because when we look at when COVID was at its peak, we realized a lot of things were put on hold, a lot of things had to change. Now, if you are an organization or if you have a partner who says that everything that is agreed is cast in stone, then obviously there was no way you were going to move forward with some of the projects that has come to pass. So it's important to be flexible. Now you need to operate in full transparency. As the project gets underway, also transparency will be your greatest asset. So make sure that your client or any other relevant partner are invited to whether it is project planning, strategy meeting, or even the project designs to get their inputs as well. Not only does this help you get closer to their final vision, but it also prevents the need for major revisions when you learn you've gone too far off the scope. Then you need to document important progress and also impact as well, because we operate as a not-for-profit organization, unlike revenue generation businesses where you can use their finances to actually determine whether the business is growing or not. For us, most of our progress or impact as a result of the projects we run, the startups we train, the number of people in our business incubator or acceleration program, and also our success stories. So if you don't document these impacts, it will be difficult for you to talk about them. And it also serves as evidence for you to be able to talk more when you are sharing this with other partners or people who might be interested in your work. So thank you all for paying attention to my little presentation of Kumasi Hive and what we do. So what we have here is our address and also contact information if you want to get in touch with us and find out more outside of what we've done here today. Thank you. So Claire, I'm handing over to you.
Thanks so much, Alex, for the great presentation. Definitely, we can see from this the important work that Kumasi Hive is doing in Ghana to support the tech ecosystem. And that is case in point by the number of really strong partners that Kumasi Hive has amassed over the years. I just wanted to put it to the audience now. We have the next 30 minutes for some Q&A back and forth with Kumasi Hive. So I know there's quite a few people in the audience today who are actually running their own hubs. So just going to give you all a minute to compile your thoughts. And if you have a question and you'd like to ask it directly, please go ahead and use the raise your hand function. So I don't see any hands raised, or if you'd like, you can also post your question in the chat. So yeah, if you'd like to go ahead and ask your question, please raise your hand now. All right, well, maybe we have a shy audience. You can also post it in the chat. Don't be afraid. We're here to use the space for peer-to-peer sharing and insights. Great. I had a hand up. Anthony's iPhone, would you like to ask your question and maybe tell us who you are?
Good afternoon, Claire. It's Kagiso from Botswana Innovation Hub, or Botswana Digital and Innovation Hub. Thank you so much for your presentation. Unfortunately, I caught most of it. And I just wanted to ask about, the ecosystem, the hub ecosystem there in Ghana. I noted that on your list of partners, there's quite a lot of international and regional partners that you're working with to deliver your programs. And I wanted to know, is there any competition between the private hubs so much for the attention of partners and development partners? And how do you guys go around working together as an ecosystem or as hubs within the ecosystem? Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your question, Anthony. So when you come to the Ghanaian ecosystem setting, I wouldn't want to use the word competition. We are more of collaborators. So we have the Ghana Hubs Network, which is made of hubs from the 16 regions in Ghana, where we usually come together to think of the betterment of the goals and initiatives in the community. So I wouldn't say it's much of a competition. Obviously, when it comes to donor partners, you get a lot of the hubs applying to probably the same funder. But at the end of the day, all these hubs are distinguished based on what they do and the areas that they focus on.
Hello, Alex. Maybe I can add a bit. Prince speaking. So if you can hear me, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So Alex, thank you for that insight. So to answer the question, we have a two-pronged strategy. And when we are starting Kumasi Hive, we had this in mind that a lot of the hubs that we had observed and researched on the continent had the mindset of competition instead of the mindset of collaboration. So we decided right from the onset that one of the ways that will set us apart was to actually position ourselves as a hardware innovation hub. So we started initially concentrating on hardware innovations, rapid prototyping of ideas, and so forth. That in itself kind of put us in a very unique position, because prior to Kumasi Hive, most of the innovation hubs were software development and building apps, most of the time, just software development. So we said, okay, look, we need to position ourselves strategically in the market. And then we also championed, like Alex mentioned, we also are part of the pioneers to form this, the Ghana Hubs community. By this, we are able to strengthen our voice because we want to achieve eventually the same outcome, basically creating impact in our communities and across Africa. So I think for a piece of advice to the other hubs in the call, that instead of having a competition mindset, you should have a collaboration mindset. Of course, resources are scarce and we are all trying to get the same resources. However, if you are able to, position yourself more uniquely in the marketplace, you are able to better collaborate with the other hubs to create impact.
And maybe Prince, since I know that you jumped in late, if you could just briefly introduce yourself so everyone knows who you are.
Oh, okay. So my name is Prince, Prince Boydu. I'm the co-founder for Kumasi Hive. I also serve on the board of advisors for Kumasi Hive. And I'm just privileged to work with people like Alex and the other team members of the Hive. We actually have worked over the years to, as much as possible within our means, to create as much impact as we can and to form meaningful collaborations with organizations like ITC. And we are just excited to be part of the YEA community.
Thanks, Prince, and thanks, Alex, for your responses. Kagiso, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I think it's very interesting what Prince has also mentioned about the initial positioning. I think, in our ecosystem, we still sort of in the very early stages of development. And I think it would be very, some of those insights would be important for some of our hubs here so that we don't crowd over the same spaces. I mean, there's a lot to be done that is related. And I think, those are some of the discussions that we don't usually have as sort of the main focal hub under innovation. I think it's something that maybe is a role that we could probably play better in the future, and trying to foster that that air of collaboration and not competition.
Definitely. And I think from my time working with the hubs in Ghana and from seeing the ecosystem, there is quite a bit of collaboration and interconnectivity between the various hubs, with a lot of the hub members speaking to one another through this network that Alex mentioned. And I think you can see the kind of interconnectedness of the ecosystem because of this, which is, really nice to see, but also quite perhaps unique to Ghana, I would say. Maybe Alex and Chris, you could talk, Alex and Prince, you could talk a bit more about this hub community and kind of how it adds value as well for you guys as a hub.
So maybe I start and Alex can chip in. So thanks, Claire, for that. So one of the key things that we have going for us is that, first of all, I think most of the hubs in Ghana took a bit of a cue from Kumasi Hive. The reason being that there was, some hubs in Accra, most of them clustered in Accra at the time. And the whole idea at the time, there was this whole hubbub about software development, people building mobile apps. And George being an electrical engineer, my co-founder, and myself coming from a very technical background, we kind of really did a lot of stakeholder conversations, very informal, talking to organizations like the Swami Magazine Industrial Development Organization. So it's actually the largest informal fabrication hub in West Africa. Is based in Kumasi. So we actually spoke with some of their leaders to understand exactly what their needs were. And of course, because of the backgrounds of the co-founders of Kumasi Hive, we're a bit more, let's say, open to something beyond software. And so we said that, okay, in order for us to kind of be competitive within the space, we need to have a specific niche for ourselves, and that was hardware development. Of course, it's more difficult to start a hardware innovation hub. The reason being that right from the onset, you need some specific machinery, tooling, 3D printers and so forth. And starting the Kumasi Hive, we had constrained resources. So what we did, the first instance was we needed to position ourselves, like I mentioned earlier, very uniquely within the space. And then once we're able to do that, we're able to attract a lot, we got a lot of traction. And through that traction, we saw the need, to bring some form of, collaborative kind of mindset. And I think another thing that kind of helped us was that for George and myself, this was not the first organization we're starting. I had started previous companies that failed. So bringing those understandings and learnings, we realized that within the space that we're functioning in, the social enterprise, the impact space, instead of competing, we needed to collaborate. And for me, that was the key factor. Even within the world of business, right? If you take Apple and Samsung, they compete. But the truth of the matter is that Samsung supplies Apple some of the sensors they use for their phones and their devices. So there's a place for competition and there's a place for collaboration. But in order to collaborate effectively, you need to find your unique selling proposition and your core competency. And it is through the core competency that will give you some form of security to collaborate with others. So Alex, over to you.
Yeah, I think Prince has done justice to that.
Great. Thank you both. So any other hands, anyone else interested in asking a question for Kumasi Hive, please go ahead and raise your hands. I'm not seeing any raised, don't be shy. All right, well, I'll step in with another question while you all think of them. We have 15 more minutes, so please bring your questions. This is a safe space to learn and to share. So, oh, well, Kagiso, over to you again. Please go ahead.
Sorry, guys. I hope somebody else comes up with another question, but I thought I'd take the chance. I just wanted to find out, I really like the collaboration story. Do you find yourselves or the other stakeholders in your ecosystem, do you guys ever come together to try to influence specific policies around entrepreneurship or youth entrepreneurship, or have you reached a critical amount or mass where now government actually listens to your suggestions about dealing with certain issues or initiatives that they might want to launch? And what level, to what extent are you involved at that level in shaping the policy ecosystem or landscape? Sorry.
Okay, so I'll go in, then if Prince has anything to add, he can do that. So regarding recognitions with governmental institutions and also shaping policies, I think that was also one of the reasons for the establishment of the Ghana Hubs network. So the network is more of like the centralized body that regulates and also, should I say, push for policies for striving startups in the country. And we also work with other organizations to develop policies as well. So an example I would use is just recently, there was nothing like Ghana Startup Act, but with the help of other organizations and some stakeholders engagement, we were able to develop that, and which is yet to be passed into like fully functional law in the country.
Prince, did you want to jump in on that as well, or has Alex covered it?
Yeah, I think Alex has done a great job on that. Yeah.
Great. All right, I'm seeing a thumbs up from Kagiso. So we have a couple more questions coming in now. Stephania, would you like to go ahead and ask your question to Kumasi Hive?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Stefania. Just a general question really. Just wanted to find out what has the biggest challenge been so far and how are you guys managing with it? Because I know that it's not easy to manage such a big organization. So I was just curious about it really. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe I jump in here and then Alex can add. So this question is, let's say, quite interesting because it's hard to pinpoint the biggest challenge. What I would say is that each and every stage that we got to, there were peculiar challenges. So I would share with you maybe 2 or 3 challenges. So at the beginning, in 2015, George, myself, and a group of friends, when we thought about Kumasi Hive, we brainstormed, we were trying to get a location, to kind of create this hub. And in Ghana, we have a very unique situation. I'm not sure how it is in other African countries, where if you wanted to rent an office space, you would have to pay 2 years rent in advance. So here we were, George, myself, Boutros, some other, 3 other people, co-founders. We had just finished my master's. I think George was also doing his MBA or something, and we had no cash. So we found a facility at first. The price was too too high for us. And then our current location, when we found it, we did not have enough cash to kind of pay the 2-year advance, and at the same time equip the space with, let's say, the renovation that was needed to convert it from a residential building into kind of a commercial building. So at the onset, at the initial stage, the key challenge was the finding a space that was, let's say, within the budget. We didn't have really a budget, but we're just kind of excited and passionate about creating this innovation hub. So I remember that after we got the location, we were able to pay 1-year advance. We negotiated with the landlord who accepted he will take 1 year, but we'll have to pay the top up of another year in a few months. And at the time, George and I were cash strapped. So I remember we had to kind of relocate and live at the Hive. So I was using one of the rooms in the Hive, and George was also using another. So we're basically homeless, but we stayed at the hub to kind of take care of ourselves at the time. So at that stage, that was the challenge we faced. And so we thought of how do we create external source of funding? And so we did a Kickstarter campaign, and we were able to raise, I think, £13,000 at the time. And that kind of really helped us to support the startups that we had in our incubator. Now, so that is the first stage, right? Now, once we're able to grow a team, so I think now we have a staff strength of, I think, 47 full-time staff. And at that stage, the most important or the most pressing challenge is managing people. And so what I believe strongly is the core strength of Kumasi Hive is the trust that we have amongst the employees or the team members. So people like Alex, people like Maurice, Priscilla, these are people who, ordinarily could find well-paying jobs outside Kumasi Hive, but they decided to stay with us to build the organization because they trusted the leadership, they trusted the vision that we had. So at that stage where you are building the team, it's really about building the trust amongst your team members so that they look beyond remuneration to creating the needed impact. And the last bit of challenge I would share with you is regarding the COVID-19. So as you are well aware, when there was lockdown in Ghana during the peak of the COVID, a lot of our funding sources were halted. A lot of the projects came to kind of a stalemate. We couldn't really move with so many of the projects. And it took our team members, to really, I remember one of my team members called me and said, I don't mind taking a pay cut for this month so we can pay the other team members. So really, at this point that we are now, it's really about the team. It's not really about me. If I decided not to even join this call, I know very well Alex would still deliver. So at that point that we are now, I think it's really about driving the key competency of the team members and putting our trust as co-founders, putting our trust in our team to deliver. So there are various, challenges depending on the stage that you find yourself in.
Alex, would you like to add on to that?
Okay.
Great. So yes, Stefania says inspiring, and for sure it is the really challenging early stages where you guys pulled everything that you had, and as you mentioned, slept at the Hive. Really shows your dedication to being an early mover in the tech ecosystem in Ghana and paving the way for others to follow suit. So we have our next question from Siadenda. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question? Siadenda, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice that the mic was on mute. I don't know if it's afternoon, but good afternoon, everybody. I hope we're all fine. I typed in my question, but just to repeat it, I just jumped in the meeting when you were talking about collaboration, where you always have to find room for collaboration, not always having to do with competition. So I was just kind of imagining in a scenario where you you have a potential competitor, but they have some skills you might need, and there's a way you can help. What are some of the key points that you have to be very careful about, or certain things you have to kind of prepare yourself in a way that you protect yourself as well, in as much as you collaborate? I don't know if I'm clear enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Alex,
Yeah,
would you like to go ahead?
Okay, so in trying to answer your question, I think for us, you first of all need to carefully consider whether the collaboration is actually necessary, because the starting point for competition law is that competitors should act independently. So you need to ask yourself, is this something that you actually need the services of another person you see as a competitor to support you with? So let's just say you've done that and you feel, yes, there is the need for these competitors to be brought on board to collaborate with you on what you want to do. Then the next one that I would also recommend is that you define the relationship and also the extent of collaboration carefully before you engage with such competitor.
All right. Thank you. And I remember you had also mentioned, is it a unique value proposition? Like you have to. Hello, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. So like just adding on from what you've said. Oh, sorry. I mean, just trying to kind of confirm what you said. You have to be very careful. First, it starts with planning. Once you identify, you start planning from there. And okay, I've got it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, the addenda, and thanks, Alex, for answering that. So we have time for one last question. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to be the last one to get in their question? Please go ahead and raise your hand. All right. Seems we have a quiet group who have had all their answers given already by the team. We have another one from Stefania. What's next for Kumasi Hive? Where are you guys going in the future? What's the big dream, the big goal?
Yeah, maybe I can help here. So thanks for that question. So I'm currently, of course, I cannot divulge everything, but we want to be the go-to hub when it comes to hardware innovations. Currently, that has been our positioning in the marketplace. We've had, let's say, the MasterCard Foundation, whenever they have any hardware-related programs, Kumasi Hive is like, it's by default, they have to go to. So, and of course, we do entrepreneurship development, skills development, and so forth. Now, in terms of the vision, I mean, the ultimate goal is that we want to help the youth of Africa basically to get them ready for what the future is going to present. I mean, 10 years ago, most of the apps we're using today were not even created, like Zoom, it was not in existence. So the question is, what would be the skill set that would be relevant for the next stage of our evolution of the economies of Africa? And also, I want you to stay close to Kumasi Hive because we are working on the Hive Institute of Technology. So we are basically going to create the MIT of Africa very soon. Thanks.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing that. That is very good point to end on. I'm very excited about this. Very cool. So thank you so much to Alex for the great presentation. Thanks to everyone who stuck around till the end of this discussion. We will share the recording and the presentation with you all after the session. Furthermore, thanks Prince as well for jumping in at the end. It was really great to have you here. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you don't already have your profile on the Yay community, please be sure to set it up so you can connect with other individuals like Prince, like Alex, and other business support organizations, as well as mentors and young entrepreneurs from around the world, as well as tap into events and opportunities like the one here today. I'm just going to close out the session by asking you all to give a big virtual round of applause to our facilitators today for the incredible work that they're doing to support the tech ecosystem in Ghana. It's really, really cool to see a young, driven team such as yourself. And that's really the purpose of these Yay Chapter Share sessions, is to highlight the work that you guys are doing and give you a space and a spotlight to shine. So thanks so much, Prince and Alex, again, for being here with us today. Really appreciate your time. And for the guys who are still here, I know that some people have bad internet connections and it's difficult, but I'd love to take a final photo. So if you guys can turn on your camera just for 1 minute, if it's possible, I'd love to take a last snap before we go. I know some of you are on the go, so if you can turn on your camera, that would be cool.
I haven't visited the barber shop yet.
Okay, understood. Cool. So any of the others want to turn on their camera? We have Miss O, we have Freda, we have Stefania, Ampho. If you guys want to turn on your camera, I give you 30 more seconds. All right, looks like we've got everyone we're going to get. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, smile. Awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys, for sticking around till the end. I'm just going to share with you one last thing before I let you go. I'm going to stop the recording now.